Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to a special video that we're doing here. We're going to be talking about the 7 Deadly Sins, celebrating 300th chapter of the 7 Deadly Sins. I'm Animag, this is Gozen, we're the two guys from the AnimeUproar channel. You might be confused, you might think we're the same person, a lot of people do, but we're actually two different people. That's why we sound different in different videos.
At the beginning we say either Gozen or Animag, so that's how you know.
Yeah, but people don't listen.
Giveaway right there.
And joining us also is Nux Taku from the Nux Taku channel. Hey, Nux.
Hey, what is happening? Thanks for having me.
Pleasure, man. Nux is a good friend of mine, a decent friend of Gozen, and Nux is also loving this arc of the 7 Deadly Sins. So we really wanted to have him here, and the several previous arcs as well. We love where the manga is going, so we're gonna be talking about it here. Spoilers will follow about the 7 Deadly Sins manga, because that's what we're here to discuss. So, you know, you have been warned, proceed with caution. And now, one theme that I really want to talk about here, like I want to frame this, we'll talk about everything, but I want to frame it as a theme. Who is the real Meliodas? Because we know that Meliodas, before meeting Elizabeth, was ruthless, the most powerful of the demons, other than the Demon King, the most ruthless. And then suddenly he meets Elizabeth, he falls in love, he becomes completely different, he betrays the demon clan, he goes on to be cursed, and, you know, we meet him as he's cursed in his, you know, childlike form. He seems like a friendly and fun-loving guy, but he has these flare-ups where he destroys entire kingdoms and stuff like that, you know, no big deal. Then we also see him, you know, slowly losing his emotions after he dies, which makes him more ruthless. Then he tries to become the new Demon King. Then he is possessed by the Demon King. So I really want to talk about this in particular. Who is the real Meliodas, and where is the story going? What is Meliodas going to be like when the story ends? But yeah, so I don't know, Gozen, you got some thoughts on this?
Yes. So for me, like, it seems pretty clear that in the purgatory is his emotions, right? And the other part of him seems to be this, like, killing machine, this perfect candidate for a Demon King. So then the Demon King just takes over that body, and then his emotions are obviously don't agree. So I'm wondering what happens with the original rational thinking Meliodas. Is he just, like, fused with the Demon King right now, and the emotions are somewhere inside trying to get out? That's the question. And they are inside, because he did escape from purgatory, and it was said that he's going to be straight into the body. So he is somewhere inside that body. It's just right now he's being overpowered by the Demon King.
Yeah, and this was back in the Purgatory arc when the Demon King's hand was cut off and Bon and Meliodas managed to escape, but our boy Wild did not.
Yes, that was a wild chapter.
Yeah, Anywho, Nux, your thoughts on the
at
real
least
Meliodas?
we killed off one of those dastardly pigs. Oh my god, finally. I mean, yes, Rip Wild, rest in peace, good friend. So as far as Meliodas, I agree with Gozen that basically the emotional rational side is the side of Meliodas that really is Meliodas, that's not in the middle of this massive holy war where he's pitting himself against millions of people trying to kill them all. So I do think the series will end with happy-go-lucky Meliodas. Just a more open one than we've seen. Because throughout the anime, he's always, like, suppressing himself. Like, always keeping up that cheery facade, even when things are not necessarily going the right way. So when his facade cracks, boom! Goodbye, kingdom! Not cool. So that's why I love that training arc with the druids, because there I felt like that's the first time we're really seeing Meliodas. And I think that's the Meliodas that we're going to be left with at the end of the series.
Yes, rest in peace, Danafor, damn. But one thing that I think is very interesting about this whole thing is how do we then get from the point where we are now to Meliodas gaining possession of his body again? That's something that I'm interested in very much. So where is the story going from here? Because we know that the last we left off with chapter 300, Bond just showed up just in time to save Hawk. Hawk was all like,
hell yeah, Bond shows up, steal the Demon King out of Meliodas, goodbye.
yes.
That would be a very lame
But,
ending, but yeah.
Where does the story go now? Because we know that Bond is now extremely powerful after being in purgatory for centuries, apparently, right? Because if you count the time.
Millennia, actually.
Millennia?
So, thousands, yeah, over 1,000 years at least.
That is insane. Like, can you even imagine that?
And then he comes back and sees King and is like, wait, you look like the worm from Hunter x Hunter now.
Yeah. You got it in. You got the reference in. So
I had to do
now
it.
we can move on with our lives. But no, I wonder now what happens because Bon is obviously much stronger, but he seems to have given up his immortality. So that should theoretically make him weaker.
Now, like...
Well, not necessarily weaker.
Yeah.
Okay, so again, we'll see. But how do you guys think we get to the current thing where Meliodas is in an adult form, being possessed by the Demon King, wrecking everybody at once, like we saw in the last chapter? No one seems to be able to stand up to him, even though we have Mael with Sunshine there, we have Ludoshell, we have, you know, King, powered up King, we have everybody. No one seems to be able to do anything.
Aside from Ludoshell sucking balls, everyone else was like dead tired. Like they all just fought like the... Oh my god, it's the 2 Archdemon guys that are each stronger than each of the commandments by like 5 times. What are we gonna do? And then like, you thought this was our final forms. No! And then they combine into Ultimate Sinner guy, and Zeldris at like 14 forms. So like, they're all pretty tired out at this point.
They are.
So I understand why they would be beaten up by the Demon King.
But to be fair, the Demon King isn't even trying. That's like he's not even breaking a sweat.
He didn't even have any trouble. His face was so composed all up until Bond showed up, and his speed actually got an expression to change on his face. So clearly he was not expecting Bond's at least speed, and we're probably gonna see that with his power too. Did you want me to just go into my Bond thing?
Yeah, so we're working on a video right now about Bond and how strong he is, because this is the big question. We've seen him like wreck a bunch of like lesser demons after coming out of Purgatory. We've seen him, you know, to rescue Elaine, but we have no idea how strong he actually is and how he will compare to Demon King possessed Meliodas. So yeah, if you want to touch on that a bit.
Let's do it. So like the video is going to be in more detail, but here I'll touch on it a bit. We have a situation where now he's been pumped up by the manga. Meliodas said everyone will be shocked by how powerful he is, that he really got a lot more powerful in Purgatory. The manga says he's like the hope among everybody, even King with his new form, like Bond's gonna be stronger than that. And I think the real secret to that power-up is gonna be the fact that his snatch ability was always amazing. He could steal power from others, and then he could use it himself. But he had a limit because his body could only tolerate so much. And what they made clear in Purgatory is that he was broken down for like thousands of years, at least over 1,000 years, and built back up to the point where his body no longer actually was affected by the frostbite or burns in Purgatory. So his body grew in tolerance. It's like a hyperbolic time chamber on steroids. Like instead of 1 year, he has like, you know, thousands. And so what's going to happen now, I think, is that he's going to be able to steal much more power. And so he's going to be able to steal not only perhaps the Demon King's power, but also from all of the other 7 deadly sins, from Mael, from everybody, and be able to actually hold it in his body because now he has that built up tolerance. And while most people can't use magic against the Demon King because of his ruler ability, that he can invert stuff, Bond is the secret to beating that because he can give the energy, which will actually take it away from the Demon King, and if the Demon King takes off the ability, they can actually do damage on him.
Excellent point, because as we learned from the Purgatory arc, if you are giving magic to the Demon King to recover him or to help him, it actually hurts him because of his ruler ability.
Only if it's activated though, yeah.
Yeah, and so if he activates that, Bond right away knows what to do. And another thing is, again, going back to the real Meliodas, can Bond appeal to his emotions in order to get him to regain control of his body? Like, while he's physically fighting the Demon King, he's also like, bro, Meliodas, my buddy, come on, wake up. Is that what's gonna happen, do you think?
Well, it might be like a Naruto kind of thing where when Naruto kind of wastes all his own chakra, then he needs to start relying on the Nine-Tailed Fox, and then all of a sudden the Nine-Tailed Fox can get in there and like take advantage of his body. So I'm thinking like if the Demon King wastes enough power, perhaps Meliodas' emotions will have a better chance of coming through.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so it weakens his control.
Yes.
Nux.
So I agree with everything you said, and that would all be amazing because I love Bond. But the only character in the entire series, I mean, especially the 7 Deadly Sins, that did not have their themes, their individual themes wrapped up in this arc is Meliodas. Every other character did to some degree. So I do think, I don't know how, because there's no opponents left, but Meliodas will have some butt kickery going on. Maybe even mentally against the Demon King, he'll end up, when all hope seems to be lost, power of friendship and stuff, and Meliodas will personally, in his mind, have a fight with the Demon King and win, but I don't know. I don't think Ban will be able to just take him down one-on-one, as much as I'd like to see it, because Ban's new suit is hype.
Yeah.
You go to AnimeUproar.com/shop or whatever it's called and pick up some Feel the Wrath.
Thank you for the plug. It wasn't us. It wasn't us. AnimeUproar.com. What? I didn't say it. Nux
We
said
won't
it.
rest until everyone has Anime Uproar shirts. Both Feel the Wrath and Praise the Stone.
And we gotta
Oh,
get a
yeah.
Ban one, because Ban is like
Oh,
Ban
yeah.
is one of my favorite characters. Like possibly the favorite. And I also love Meliodas, Escanor, and Mael overall. His whole character arc, not just Mael as he is now. I think those are all amazing characters. And yeah, so Nux, you raised a good point. We have to see, Meliodas in action. Now that he's being controlled by the Demon King, we are not seeing him in action. So are we gonna see like a mental game where they show it like it's actually happening within his mind? He is fighting the Demon King, but they show it as a real fight. Or you said we might not have any more opponents left, but I think that we might actually
Have the goddesses!
No, I think we might actually have,
Yeah.
the Demon King and the Supreme Deity in their original bodies. They could theoretically be the final opponents. So if Meliodas regains control of his body, the Demon King's like, okay, that's it. Now I'm gonna destroy this whole world. Supreme Deity does something too, and then they all have to get together and fight these like godlike creatures.
That would be dope. But as far as big fights, I don't even necessarily care if Meliodas gets to flex his muscles and beat some big guy. Every character completed their character arc. I mean, like, you have King always felt bad about himself. Like, he was the inferior guy in the group at all times. And in this arc, he became a total beast and saved the day. Or like Escanor. Escanor was always this prideful... As I've mentioned, he fought Estarossa, and Estarossa had the power of Order for Love. So basically, since he didn't even hate Estarossa, he watched Estarossa kill Meliodas in front of his own eyes. Meliodas was his savior, dude. He did not hate Estarossa at all. He just pitied him. This prideful bastard. And later, Mael, who is the Estarossa from the past, spoilers, after he caught Escanor, Escanor's like, I can't do this. Dude, it's all on you. And that is the most selfless thing possible. He didn't just, let his friends die, and he gave up his power to Mael, who would do a better job with that power. So everyone, and Ban popped up out of purgatory, and he's the sin of greed, and his power is gift. I mean, that's pretty obvious. But so Meliodas is going to have some wrath-like thing where he can utilize his wrath in a better fashion. He's going to have a big moment. But I don't know what it is. And that's why we're reading the manga, not reading fanfics. Thanks for coming.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm loving the manga. Like, Seven
amazing.
Deadly Sins is a battle shonen, so you're expecting a lot of action, and you're not necessarily expecting a ton of, character development or, intense backstory or anything like that, but we definitely get that with the Seven Deadly Sins, which is amazing. So we couple that action with that, and especially later on in the manga, like at first, I always say this, in the first season of the anime, in the first chapters of the manga, we don't know the backstory of Meliodas, we don't know the backstory of Ban or anyone, but as we slowly learned those stories, that's when I really started loving this series, and now this arc feels like everything is coming together. As you said, Nux, everyone is like, fulfilling their purpose and learning these important life lessons for their characters and developing, and it's just been so great. But then, and you're right, I think, and that is why I wanted to, talk about the real Meliodas, because Meliodas still hasn't had his, complete arc. He was for, this ruthless demon, then somehow just from falling in love with Elizabeth, he suddenly becomes much more kind, betrays the demons. We don't know exactly how this happened. We might learn more about this, I'm not sure. Now he decides and this was really cool, I think. He decides that in order to break the curse on Elizabeth, he has to give up his emotions, give up who he is now, in order to, be able to absorb the commandments, become the next Demon King, and have enough strength to break the curse. So he abandons the 7 deadly sins. He's the captain. He says, the 7 deadly sins are no more. I have to become the Demon King. So that is big. So we're thinking, okay, so now this Meliodas is willing to give up everything he believes in just so he can save Elizabeth. Kind of like Bond was willing to kill Meliodas to save Elaine and came to regret it, of course. So the question is now, what will Meliodas do? Will he allow the Demon King to control him? Will he rebel against it somehow? How will he come into play here? I loved, I'm getting all excited here, but I loved how absorbing the 10 commandments turned out to be a trap.
Yeah,
basically.
Something had to happen, right? Like we couldn't just have him come back with his emotions and everything be fine.
Well, then he could have theoretically fought the Demon King in his original body. But I think that it's so interesting. It's like everyone's saying, if you absorb all 10 commandments, you can rival the Demon King, you can challenge him, and in reality, you become a vessel for the Demon King. The Demon King had it all planned out 3,000 years ago. I thought that was pretty awesome.
That was good. Yeah.
And
Also-
that's when you wonder, Whammon and Gentle Whammon, why didn't he just give all the 10 commandments to Zeldris? And Zeldris comes into the human world, and boom, Demon King is there. Ha ha! Mere mortals. No, but he didn't think of that.
Well, maybe
He decided to make this whole evil plan, dividing up the commandments. Yeah.
Well,
We
see,
know
that's
the
a good question, because I think it's because, and we had a Viva the Loser in the chat asked, why do we think that the Demon King's body is actually weaker than Meliodas' body? We don't know, but it's clear that the Demon King has aged. Like, he appears as an old man with a beard. Meliodas appeared like almost childlike, now he
dope-ass
appears
beard,
as an
though.
adult. So it is possible that the Demon King wants a younger body, and also a body that's not stuck in purgatory. And it is also possible that he just doesn't think Zeldris is up to it, whereas Meliodas, he thinks, has that potential.
He calls him the Destroyer. For some reason, that's like a special thing that Meliodas is, a Destroyer, and that means something.
Yeah, so there's something
I don't
special
know.
about Meliodas.
Zeldris is the executioner. That means something too.
Not enough, Nux. It doesn't mean
Not
enough.
enough. An executioner only kills one person at a time.
Meliodas, I think there's something special about him. He has some potential that maybe Zeldris doesn't, and that is why this trap was set for him. Because I feel like even the fact that the curse was placed on Elizabeth, that was the driving force for Meliodas to keep getting stronger and to try to absorb the commandments, right? So it's almost like the Demon King planned it all out.
I have a
I
question
don't
for
know.
you guys.
This is if that's true, then it's feeling too much Black Zetsu like Naruto. Oh, I planned everything all along, putting all the pieces together, pitting everyone against them, so that this exact thing could happen 14 generations later.
Yeah, it's possible. Like, I think he hedged his bets because he was okay, like, either way if it didn't turn out this way. But if it did, he had a backup plan. But I do want to question
but this
you
is
guys.
a pretty crappy backup plan. 3,000 years of real life time. That's how long he spent in purgatory.
Yeah,
how
for
many
him it's
hundreds
like
of thousands
hundreds of millions of years.
Hundreds of millions of years. This old dude is sitting in this blistering cold and hot garbage, waiting in this vat of molten crap, hoping that Meliodas will lose his mind. I don't know. I don't buy that. I hope that's not the case.
Well,
I
who
hope it
knows?
just worked out.
Because the thing is, we don't know if the Demon King's body is deteriorating. We don't know if he's 100% immortal, or if there's something that he has to account for. So we'll see. We'll have to see as the manga goes on.
He definitely wants the younger body. Like, he's emphasized that. So he's probably not immortal, or at least, and he can't like go on like this forever. And he's weak, and he's probably like not a good vessel. Like, he needs Meliodas for that. But I wanted to ask you guys: do you think that the Demon King is like, can he get his purgatory self into the real world? Like, now, are they together, or is he still like half of him in purgatory, half of him in Meliodas?
What I was thinking is potentially one of the big fights for Meliodas would be the Meliodas in purgatory beating the Demon King in purgatory, and that's somehow affecting what's going on outside of purgatory.
Yeah, the only thing is he escaped purgatory. It led us to believe.
It led us to believe, but it was very unclear when Ban lost him transferring out. Like, I don't know exactly.
Yeah, my thinking, and this is my hypothesis, If it turns out that the Demon King is still partially in purgatory, then the final villain will be the Demon King in his huge form. If it turns out that he was completely transferred, then perhaps not. But again, I feel like we still need to learn about the Supreme Deity. Like, we've almost seen her not at all. So do you think the series could end without her coming into play?
I do not know. It may potentially be a new arc or saga.
Oh, that would
something.
be amazing.
Yeah.
Because I don't want
Yeah.
this to
Another
end.
arc.
I don't
Yeah.
want this to end, guys.
Yeah. But one thing I have to say, the Demon King is an absolute mad lad. He worked out this incredible genius plan with the Supreme Deity. He's like, Supreme Deity, here's the thing. Curse my bastard son Meliodas. Give him immortality, and I'll curse Elizabeth so she keeps reincarnating so that Meliodas is in, like, turmoil and stuff. Wink, wink. And Supreme Deity's like, great plan, Demon King guy. Amazing. So they each curse each other's kids. Now, Demon King guy comes out, takes the curse off Elizabeth, and meanwhile he has the, immortal body of Meliodas. Thank you, Goddess Whammon. Very cool.
Yeah, so the thing is, we don't know the relationship between the Demon King and the Supreme Deity.
No.
Is there some connection between them? What was their whole reason behind cursing their two children, supposedly? Right? Is it all just, we were mad? Or is it something more?
I noticed something when I was reading the manga recently, and it was one of those question corners for Nakaba where he answers questions, and someone asked, are Meliodas' brothers, do they have a mother? Does Meliodas and his brothers have a mother? And Nakaba said, I would think so. And the interesting thing is, I'm pretty sure they asked this after Mile was revealed to be, like, not, like, supposedly not his brother, but a goddess. So, like, it would suggest he didn't correct him, so it would suggest he has multiple brothers. But the idea is, there's definitely a woman there, there's definitely a mom. It's just we haven't met her yet. He doesn't just, like, Demon King doesn't just reproduce asexually. So,
Yeah, good point.
goddess, like, it makes sense, you know what I mean? Like,
The
she's
ship has sailed, ladies and gentlemen. Supreme Deity and Demon King. Hell yeah.
I mean,
That's
like,
the
who
ship I would
else?
go
Who
for.
else? Like, I don't know.
Supreme
really had-
King, I ship it.
Secret meetings in purgatory, you know. Weekends off for Supreme Deity.
Yeah, well, the thing is that I think the fact that, as you said, that they have a mother, or Nakaba Suzuki thinks they have a mother,
Which
is,
you would know,
is
right?
important, yes, because it could be just the Demon King, he just creates them out of clay and breathes life into them or whatever. But no, that's not the case. They seem to have a mother, so I feel like that should come into play. And again, we don't know exactly when the manga will end. Everything is gearing up towards an ending, which
For sure.
sucks. But I wanted to keep going because there's so many unanswered questions about Merlin, about the original Gother, about the Supreme Deity, so much stuff.
Dude, that Gother thing needs to be explained. It needs to be expounded on. There has to be something there.
Yeah,
Because
I
that
agree.
was pretty
There's so
lame. It's
much.
like, my ultimate plan to confuse everyone, erase everyone's mind. Why do I do this, you ask? I'm not telling you. Like, come on, man. Let us in on the secret. Did this whole cool spiel with Esterosa for nothing.
No, I'm sure there's gonna be something, and it's gonna be interesting. And I've been looking forward to finding out the whole secret of Gother, Doll Gother, original Gother, Holy Wars. I think there's,
Every new chapter right now reveals, like, insane information.
yeah, a lot of new stuff.
Yeah, so if it keeps like this, like, we'll have endless videos to make if it keeps up like this.
So to round up,
Sum up.
to both of those together, about this whole real Meliodas arc, I think, Nux, you hit the nail on the head when you said we still have to see Meliodas come full circle. We've seen his character evolve drastically throughout the series, and we now need to see him go full circle from a guy who is fun-loving and stuff in order to control his power. He's afraid, he wants to bubble it all down, he wants to suppress it so that he doesn't lose control, but then he ends up bubbling up and he loses control, like with Danafor, to someone who needs to come full circle, embrace his original magic, his original power, and control it, and still be himself. And I think that is going to be definitely where we're heading next, and I can't wait. I'm excited. Do you guys agree?
I agree that I'm
Animex
super
excited.
excited. I also agree that he'll have to learn how to deal with his dark self and not try to constantly suppress it, because that doesn't end up well. I will say, though, for some reason, though, he believes if he uses his original power, he won't be able to stay in the human world. So we'll have to see what he means by that.
Yeah, and that could be a foreshadowing that the final showdown might happen either in Purgatory or the Demon Realm or something. And we know nothing about the Demon Realm either, everybody.
There's a demon realm?
Yes!
I wasn't told of this, damn it!
There is a Demon Realm and a Celestial Realm, and we haven't even gone there.
Yet.
18 more arcs and I'll be happy.
Any less, and Animac will riot.
Yeah. That concludes this portion of our discussion. Now we can move on to the Q&A.
Perfect.
If you want to watch the Q&A portion of this discussion, or if you want to tune in live in future weeks, because we're going to be doing these types of discussions weekly, be sure to follow AnimeUproar on Twitch, link in the description. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the AnimeUproar YouTube channel for more 7 Deadly Sins content. And finally, please show the mad lad Nux Taku some love by subscribing to his YouTube channel, link in the description. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, see ya, Space Cowboys.